Hello everyone. Today we'll be bringing you a review of the Pentel R.S.V.P ballpoint pen, fine point 0.7 millimeters in black ink. So a few things about the pen. Pentel claims this pen writes for almost a mile, which I'm assuming means you could write one continuous line nearly a mile long. We're not going to test that here today. I would imagine that's about right though. They also claim the pen's sturdy, well-balanced barrel makes it a favorite pen for many people. The barrel does feel good. We'll talk about that more when we write with it. Also that the long barrel makes the pen easy to use, no matter which size hand you have. I'm not too sure about that claim. The barrel does seem longer than some pens, but it seems right about the same size as a standard basic ballpoint pen. Just a regular stick pen, non-retractable. I would imagine that's just a selling point for them, even though it's true of a lot of pens. So I'll just take a few here real quick to see. Here we have the R.S.V.P, a few basic stick pens, staples, and a Bic Ultra round stick. And we have some more here, the Papermate 300, Uniball roller, Uniball Signo gel stick, and Uniball Vision Elite. So you can see here, it's among the tallest, but in terms of just besides the Uniballs, it's around the same size. So I think that's something they're just saying to try and make the pen sound better than it really is. It does have a clear barrel, which I do like a lot. You can easily see the ink supply, so you know exactly how much ink you have at all times. It has a latex-free comfort zone grip. This is basically a rubber grip with 6 rows of 3 dimples in each row. It does seem to have decent gripping power here. Stainless steel tip, which Pentel claims provides extended durability and skip-free lines. It is refillable. Uses Pentel's BK-L7 refill, or the BK-L10 if you're using the medium 1.0 millimeter point. It just actually presses right into the back here. And then the back screws on. Cap clips on pretty well. Feels very sturdy. Although I feel like it's a little bit too rigid. If you're trying to clip it onto anything too thick, probably would snap. So, I mean, it'd probably be good for belts or pockets, but that's about it. It's available in black, blue, red, green, pink, sky blue, and violet. So, let's see how it writes now. Feels reasonably smooth in your hands. I'd probably say it's about average in that category. It doesn't feel great. Doesn't exactly flow across the paper effortlessly, but then again, it doesn't really require too much effort. Right about average for what you would expect from a standard ballpoint pen. The lines it produces are, again, probably about average darkness. They're not too light, but they're not really jumping out at you on the paper. We do get a little bit of blobbing, I've noticed, every here and there. It's not much. We don't get any skips, which is good. But if you'll see, kind of right there, after I wrote a few long lines and then put the pen back on the paper, we got a little bit of blobbing. And sometimes, like at the end of a curve, things like that, we got a little bit on the B and D here, maybe a little bit on the J. So blobbing can be a little bit of an issue, and we'll touch on that a little bit more later. But it isn't terrible. Try a smear test now. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. 4. And 5. So as you can see, we did get smearing all across the board. 1 second it proved to be pretty bad and trailed off steadily 2 and 3. After 3, by 4 and 5 seconds, we got, it wasn't much smearing, but it was kind of a consistent little bit. So let's see how we did with some writing prior. We got much of the same results. The lines produced are, I'd say, just about average in terms of how dark they are and how bold they are. Not too light, not too dark. We got reasonably smooth writing again, right about average. No skips, which was a good thing. So it does deliver on its promise of having the stainless steel tip, which does deliver durability and skip-free lines. The tip does seem durable, so I would imagine long term it would hold up for you. We did get a little bit of that blobbing, almost the same spot. So after we wrote this long continuous line here and then we put the pen back on the paper, we got some blobbing right there. Again, it wasn't terrible, but it did happen fairly regularly in spots, sometimes around a curve, things like that. The smear test, much of the same. 1 and 2 seconds we got significant smearing. From 3 on it trailed off, but then remained the same. So we went a little further ahead with the smear test on this one. So you could see from 6 seconds to 10 seconds, actually all the way through 15, we got pretty much the same amount of smearing. Very little, so it's not anything that's going to be immediately noticeable, but it was consistent smearing throughout that. So we had to go into about 20 seconds and beyond. I'd say between 20 and 25 to really eliminate all the smearing. What we had at 30 here, there was essentially none there, so it really took about up to 25-30 seconds. Now if you'll notice, 20 actually looked very bad with the smearing, and the reason why is because we got a few of those little blobs there when we wrote right around the top of the curve, and because we got those blobs, even after 20 seconds they still smeared significantly. So I'd say that you'd have to wait a good, say, 25 seconds for the pen not to smear at all, but that statement is kind of conditional on the fact that you didn't get any blobbing. If you do get the blobs, then it'll smear up to maybe a minute later or more. Depends how bad it kind of blobbed in that area. So that is what it is. We'll take a look at the writing we did prior, how it kind of did bleeding through. It's very little to no bleed through. Essentially, again, kind of that blobbing comes back to haunt the pen. The areas where it blobbed a little bit is kind of the only areas where it really bleeds through. Besides that, you really can't see much of anything on the other side of the paper. Again, here you'll notice the same spots where it kind of bleeds through. Right where we get that blobbing. Aside from that, you can see the text, what you wrote on the other side of the paper a little bit if you kind of are really looking for it, but besides that, then you can't really tell. So, overall, this is a pretty decent pen. I'd say it's right about average across the board for what it is. I mean, it's low cost. I picked up 2 of them for I think 99 cents or $1. So it does what you expect it to do for the price. It's a little bit better than a just disposable ballpoint stick pen, but it's really not going to compare to any other more expensive pens. One other thing I should mention for this comfort grip here, it feels okay. It doesn't feel great. The biggest complaint I had with it was the fact that it's a little too short. If you're holding it in your hand, I feel like a large portion of, I mean, it fits your fingertips, but I feel like it should go up a little bit more to provide better comfort. That's just my opinion. So, there you have it. It's pretty much an average performing ballpoint stick pen. It doesn't really lack too many qualities, but doesn't really stand out in some either. The biggest issues are the blobbing that the pen has, and the fact that it's not the most comfortable pen. But for a low-cost, refillable, which is a key factor in this too, ballpoint stick pen, it lives up to the expectations you'd want it to reasonably well. That's about it. Thanks for watching.